afternoon. My name is Judy Honts. I live in CedarStone community in Cedar Falls, Iowa. And I'll be reading to you a book about Helen Keller, and it's written by Maria Isabel Sánchez Vegara and illustrated by Sam Rudd. Once at a farm in northern Alabama, USA, a little baby called Helen was born. From the very beginning, her curious mind was eager to learn. She was just one when she said water, a word she would never forget. Helen was only 19 months old when she got a terrible fever that left her deaf and blind. From that day on, she had to get used to living in a dark and silent world. Still, she could smell the sweet scent of flowers and feel her parents' hugs. By the time she was 6, Helen had created more than 60 signs to communicate with her playmate Martha, like a pull to mean come or a nod for yes. She could even recognize people by the way the floor shook as they walked. Touching people's lips, she noticed that others used their mouths to talk, that no matter how hard she tried to do the same, nothing ever happened. It was so frustrating that Helen screamed and kicked until she broke down in tears. Looking desperately for help, her parents contacted the Perkins Institution for the Blind, which sent one of its brightest students. Her name was Anne Sullivan, and she did not just become Helen's teacher, but her lifelong friend. The day after they met, Anne gave Helen a gift from the children at her school. She slowly spelled the letters of the name of the gift into her hand, D-O-L-L. Helen repeated it with her fingers without knowing she was spelling a word or even what a word was. It was weeks later when Anne spelled W-A-T-E-R that something amazing happened. A memory of that word came back to Helen. She realized that words were related to things and that everything had a common name. That discovery changed Helen's life. She was learning to talk with others. Soon she was reading books in Braille, a system that uses tiny bumps on paper to spell words. And the following year, she attended a school for blind people. Later, Helen met a well-known teacher of deaf people called Sarah Fuller. Resting her fingers on Sarah's lips, nose, and neck, Helen learned how every sound felt. And before long, she was able to speak too. She became the first deaf blind person to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree and the first to write a book about her life. After graduating from college, she and Anne traveled the country, sharing Helen's story and giving disabled people a voice. She wrote another 13 books and hundreds of great speeches that every president of the United States wanted to hear. Yet she preferred to enjoy the company of good friends, like the writer Mark Twain and the inventor Alexander Graham Bell. Many schools for the deaf and blind were set up thanks to Helen, and she helped to make Braille the world's writing system for the blind. Still, she also found time to defend women's votes and the rights of African American people. And while meeting every obstacle in her way, little Helen learned that everything she'd been looking for was already within her, because the best things in life are those that we can feel with our hearts.